Hi everyone, my name is Mike Snyder and I'm originally from Frostburg. I'm broadcasting to you tonight from rural Virginia, where I live now, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so sorry that I can't be there in person. I was actually doubly booked for a photography show down here. More on that in just a moment. But thanks for having me digitally anyway, and I'm excited for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about how a grant from the Community Trust changed my life. And to do that, I'm going to need to take you back 10 years in time. 10 years ago, I got a scholarship from the Rotary Club to study a master's degree at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. And what was supposed to be a one-year adventure quickly turned into 4 years because during my first week on campus, I happened to meet the love of my life. And this photo is jumping ahead in time a bit here because Helena is now my wife, and this is her and our son Jacob, and we all live together now in Virginia. So, after 4 years of living together in Scotland, it was time to come back home to the US, but I had to come back a little bit early because Helena hadn't finished up with her PhD yet. So I got back home and I said to my mom, I don't really know what to do for this summer because I can't start any full-time work yet until Helena comes home. So my mom said to me that the Appalachian Independent, or AppIndy, a local nonprofit newspaper, has recently got a grant from the Community Trust and some other partners to do some photography and film work around Appalachian traditions. You should apply. Now, I had never done any serious photo or film work before, but I had nothing else to do, so I figured, what the hey, I'll give it a shot. So in the summer of 2011, with your help, we made the Mountain Traditions Project. Roll video, please.
I just always remember there being music. People have always needed a way, I think, to express themselves. That was their way of passing stories down.
Most of the technologies used are the newer stuff is 50 to 60 years old, and now you have to figure out a way to continue to grow, continue to take what is a thousands of year old tradition and make it new again.
A good quilter follows their personality. Once you get to know the person, you can walk into a room and you can almost pick out who made different things.
I was captured by a musician that played hammered dulcimer, and I say he captured me because I heard him play and I was mesmerized by it.
We're trying to turn as much of our outdoor landscape around us into something that is either producing something useful or is just really nice to be around.
Our knowledge and our learning comes from people whose families have been doing these things in this area for generations.
Of course, canoes were the traditional way of navigating around this area.
Kayaking is this way of understanding the landscape, how all this place comes together through the movement of water.
Rivers are
So we don't have enough time tonight to show you the whole series, but you can find it online if you want to. And it was a smash hit. We had screenings across the community and across the region. We showed the images as well as the video series, and we reported back on the grant that we had reached over 1,000 people. So it was money very much well spent. But we had no idea what was going to come next. Last year, Amy Fabry, who was the woman in the opening part of that video, wrote me and said, "Hey Mike, you've got to take a look at the view count on our video." Holy moly! 250,000 views! So it turns out, in the years since we made these videos, people have been slowly but steadily tuning in to watch them, and then last year a teacher on the West Coast found the videos, and they are now part of the national curriculum for elementary schools, as a case study in Appalachian traditions and also rural independent storytelling. To date, over 300,000 people have seen our videos, and the photos have got attention in magazines across the country. I am now receiving emails with a fair amount of frequency asking us when are we going to be doing more of these stories. So the impact has been well beyond what we imagined. It's changed a number of lives, And that brings me to the second part of this story. So in the fall of 2011, we wrapped up the Mountain Traditions Project, and Helena moved over to the US, and I decided it was time to put away my camera and move back to my career, which until that time had been working as an environmental consultant. So I arranged a meeting with Dr. Tom Bowling here at the university to talk about how I might be able to do some consulting work for the university. And I sat down across from Tom and I pitched him my brilliant idea. And Tom looked at it and he said, well, this is interesting, but we don't really need this right now. But I heard that you're now a professional videographer and photographer, and we've got some students going to Uganda this spring, and I sort of started to cut him off and to say, no, that's just something I was doing part-time, and then I thought, Uganda? Yeah. I'm a professional videographer and photographer. That's something that I can do. So that evening, I ran home and I established Interdependent Pictures. And I called Tom back and I signed the contract. That project with Frostburg State has now turned into 3 documentary films, including productions in Ecuador and India. These have all screened around the world, and they've taken home a number of awards at film festivals. In fact, we just got an email yesterday saying that we won the Best Environmental Film at the Colorado Film Festival. I'm going to play a quick teaser for our upcoming film, which is currently in production and has the working title Dharamsala. So that's a sample of some things that we've been doing recently. And 6 years after getting your grant, I am still doing photo and video work. It's been an incredible honor, and it's felt like the right thing for me, even though I had no idea that it was coming. I've been able to travel around the world, and I've had images seen in magazines and in galleries. And recently I had some work featured by National Geographic at the Mountain Film Festival in Colorado. Even Jacob is now taking photos. And who do I have to blame for this? Well, it started with a community trust grant. And of course, my mom, for looking out for me as usual. Thanks, Mom. I know you're there in the audience tonight. So thank you once again to the Community Trust. Thank you for the work that you do and the stories that you help share. In our ever more connected world, you have no idea how far those ripples can carry. And even though oftentimes you cannot see the fruits of your work, you have to know that it's out there, and I hope that I'm evidence of that. This spring I'm going to be applying for other grants to hope to continue work on the Mountain Traditions Project, so I'm hopeful and excited that we'll get to work together again. And this time, who knows how far it will carry. Thank you once again for having me tonight. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, but that is your fault because I'm doing a photography gig here. Thank you once again for having me, and have a great night.